Living Truth Channel, how you guys doing today? All right. Sound like you guys are doing blessed. Sound like you guys are doing blessed. That's always a blessing, you guys. That's always a blessing. Living Truth Channel, you guys know I always try to post rapture dreams and things of that sort, which I am going to continue to do. But I'm also going to start posting videos that I feel that don't get enough attention in this world. This right here is such a sensitive topic, and you rarely hear about it, which is Christian persecution. I think we don't talk about this subject enough. I don't care if you're African, Kenyans, Chinese, Asians, Indians. If you're a Christian, you are my brother and sister in Christ. God tells us to pray always for our brothers and sisters that's being persecuted, because we too are still in the body. God also said, if they persecuted me, they will persecute you too. No servant is greater than his master. So you guys, what we about to watch is very touching subject, very interesting video to say the least. Our brothers and sisters all around the world is getting persecuted, even right now in the United States.
In North Korea, the regime of Kim Jong-il requires godlike loyalty from all citizens. Worshipping in public, Korea is #1 on the Open Doors World Watcher list of most difficult countries for Christians to live. It has held this shameful position since the year 2002. Today, an estimated 40,000 Christians are being held in North Korean prison camps. Approximately 1 out of every 10 Christians in this country is suffering cruel imprisonment. The stories of their torment are being told as some escape.
우리 일행 중에 2명이 탈출을 했어요. 근데 했을 때 이렇게 다 어떻게 하면 가족한테 식량을 공급할까, 먹을 걸 줄까 이 생각밖에 없었는데 정말 방도가 없었어요. 특히 많은 사람들이 이렇게 너무 배가 고파서 굶주려 있고 기독교인들은 예수 믿는 이유로 마지막에 이렇게 배급을 공급받아요. 뭐 그것도 다른 사람보다 적게 공급받고 그래서 많은 사람들이 또 다른 방도도 모색하고 이렇게 암암리 이런 것도 막 모색하고 이렇게 하면서 살았거든요. 근데 사실 동생이 하나 있었어요. 근데 그 입국 심사하는 그분들한테 붙잡혀서 어떻게 호송당했는데요. 그 동생 소식을 아는 그 사람은 지금 아직도 아무것도 없어요. 어떻게 되었는지, 어디로 갔는지, 살았는지, 죽었는지 모르겠어요.
North Koreans who leave the country without state permission are considered guilty of an act of treason. This is punishable by lengthy prison terms, working in labor camps, or the death penalty. Sometimes Christians are executed immediately, with no trial.
정부 기관들이 예고 없이 우리 집을 들이닥친 경우가 많아요. 그들은 항상 그렇게 해요. 우리가 기독교인이어서가 아니라 사람들에게 겁을 주기 위해서 잘못을 저지를 엄두도 내지 못하게 하는 거지요. 그런 방법으로 인민들이 지도자 동지를 따르고 있는가 확인하는 거지요. 저는 그 성경 구절들을 쓴 적이 있었는데 발각되지 않도록 기도했었어요. 발각되면 우리의 생명을 위협하는 문제가 될 수 있으니까요.
북한에서 기독교인으로서 발각되는 것에 대해서는 끊임없는 이런 두려움이 항상 따릅니다. 유죄로 입증될 때는 치러야 할 대가가 있습니다. 그것은 매우 크죠. 곧 죽음입니다. 예수를 믿는 데 대해서는 북한 정권에서는 김일성과 김정일을 아버지로 모셔야 되는데 예수를 아버지로 하나님으로 모시기 때문에 거기에 대한 북한 정권이 참을 수 없죠.
어느 날 보이부가 우리 집에 와서 집을 조사했어요. 그리고 내가 손으로 쓴 성경 구절 그 쪽지들을 발견했어요. 그들은 내게 여러 말로 고함을 지르고 남편과 나와 아이들을 모두 강제 수용소로 끌고 갔어요. 부모님과 아이들까지 수용소로 끌려가서 심한 노동을 해야만 했어요. 이제는 다 북한에 있지 않거나 죽어버렸겠죠. 수용소 생활은 매우 혹독하기 때문에 나는 수용소에 남아있는 기독교인들을 위해서 날마다 기도하고 있어요.
사람들은 어릴 때부터 김일성, 김정일을 숭배하도록 훈련을 철저히 받습니다. 그런데 이 부모들이 숭배를 하는 이 과정에서 북한으로 말하면 잘 숭배를 못함으로 말미암아 이런 처벌을 받는데 여기에 애들도 함께 이렇게 연자법으로 말미암아 사돈의 팔촌까지 이렇게 처벌을 받는데 그로 말미암아 아이들이 참 불쌍하죠. 이런 고등교육이나 좋은 직업을 가질 기회를 빼앗기고 모든 것을 다 상실당하죠.
북한 감옥이 얼마나 악독하고 혹독한지 세상에 좀 알았으면 좋겠어요. 저는 끌려서 여독수용소에 갔습니다. 거기서 9년을 여독수용소에서 지냈는데 그냥 짐승처럼 취급을 받았어요. 짐승도 정말 그렇게 대하지 않는데 사람을 짐승보다 더 못하게 취급을 하더라고요. 근데 제 마음 가운데 가장 분노하고 가장 마음이 아픈 것은 저 한 사람 때문에 아버지와 어머니와 동생과 온 가족과 심지어 사랑하는 아이들까지 정말 어덕수역소에 끌려가서 짐승 취급을 받은 것이 제일 마음이 아프고 전 분노를 느낍니다. 나 한 사람 때문에 그렇게 됐다는 것을.
That's very sad. Very, very sad. You know, that's me and you. That's me and you guys. That's us right there. We are living. We are still alive. We still have breath in our bodies.
And on the other side of the world, in the United States of America, Bernal Stutzman refused to serve a wedding of homosexuals. This is an old American woman, a talented florist. Bernal's old client, one Rob Ingersoll, offered her a big order to decorate the wedding of him and one other sodomite. Bernal refused.
That was a real struggle to decide what to do with that. My husband and I talked it over, and, you know, as much as I love Rob, I just couldn't.
The Attorney General's action in this case is unprecedented in Washington State. We have never had an Attorney General take the position that this Attorney General is taking. Now the ACLU's piled on, and the same-sex couple have sued her as well. And interestingly, they have sued her in her personal capacity as well as her business. So she is at great risk. As a result of serving someone lovingly and admittedly in a kind way for 9 years, and because you won't do one same-sex wedding, you're going to lose your house or your business. And she's been working in this business for 40 years.
Marriage is a sacred, very sacred thing. You want flowers for your anniversary, your birthday, or whatever, that's fine. But I just cannot do a same-sex marriage.
If you look in the Tri-Cities area, there's like 3 pages in the yellow pages of florists that could have served this couple.
I have to have faith that he's going to protect me and give me the courage and the knowledge and the wisdom to stand firm on this. But it's also helped me understand what obedience is and what I'm going to cry and what following Christ is. You know, you can't sit on the fence, like he says. You can't be lukewarm.
In addition to last week's church bombing in Pakistan, Christians have also been targeted recently in Egypt and at last week's mall attack in Kenya. Is this merely a coincidence, or is there a wider trend? To explore that, I'm joined by U.S. Ambassador at Large for International Religious Freedom, Susan Johnson Cook. Welcome, Madam Ambassador.
Thank you. It's so wonderful to be with you. Thank you.
We saw what Fred wrote about, or broadcast just now, just about Pakistan. Is this something which is a worldwide problem?
Well, it is a worldwide problem. You know, as Ambassador for International Religious Freedom, my portfolio is 199 countries of the world. And so we see it frequently. First, though, I want to send my condolences to those who were the victims of the attack, those who lost loved ones. We certainly want to send our condolences and sympathy. It's not just recent. It's been throughout the world and throughout history, and it opens up the whole conversation of religious freedom. We have it in our Constitution that we have the right to believe what and when we believe, when we want to believe, how we want to express that, but in many parts of the world that is not true. So we hear stories of people being persecuted, even killed, for their right to believe. And so what you saw is something not recent in Pakistan in terms of what's hitting the news, but it's ongoing in many countries in the world.
And is it just about Christians who are targeted, or are other religions targeted as well?
Many religions are targeted as well. Religious minorities all over the world. And part of my portfolio is to protect religious minorities and urge governments to protect religious minorities where they are. To also hold perpetrators accountable for their crimes, and also to promote respect for different faiths.
How do you do that, especially if you look like you're someone imposing U.S. values in other parts of the world?
Well, we certainly don't go to impose, but there is the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and we make sure that the standards that are international agreements are adhered to. So it's not about imposing United States standards, but adhering to the international standards. So part of it is we use all the diplomatic tools that are available to us. Diplomacy, where I visited now 26 nations of the world. We use public diplomacy, where I talk here around the country about issues of religious freedom. And we have an annual religious freedom report that comes out, and it shows the trends of all 199 countries each year.
Well, let me ask you, there you have a term of art which is called countries of particular concern, but nowhere on that list is Pakistan or Indonesia or Nigeria, where we have seen attacks, or Syria or Kenya, as we saw last week. So are you speaking to the right flashpoints?
Well, there are 8 countries of particular concern at this particular time, and at any time, countries can be designated. That is, the president has given the authority to the Secretary of State. What we do in my office is I'm the chief advisor to the president and to the Secretary of State, and we promote religious freedom, but we also monitor religious freedom. And so at each country, we're always monitoring it, and we give that report to the secretary anytime the designation can be made.
But in some of those countries I named and others which are of particular interest, China, Eritrea, Iran, these acts are committed with impunity, and you don't have enforcement powers to force these governments to act.
Well, one of the things we look at in our office is some of the systemic causes for religious freedom. That's one of our long-term challenges. Impunity is one of them. Also, looking at laws that may need to be rescinded or repealed. We want to look at what's happening in terms of protection for religious minorities. Some places it's Christians being attacked, like Egypt and the Coptic Christians. Other places it's Iran and Iraq, where you have Sunni and Shia Muslims and sectarian violence. Iran, there are Christian pastors who have been, jailed for their belief. We were very successful, and part of what's important is also lifting up places that are successful. We were successful last year in helping Pastor Nardikani, one of the Christian pastors who was in Iran, with multilateral input, be able to be freed. There's now another pastor there, Pastor Saeed Abedini, who's in prison. And again, we're using our partners and our multilateral as well as our bilateral partners.
Is there a connection between this kind of religious tolerance, freedom, and global security?
Very much so. We have found that where there is religious freedom, there's more stability. And where there's the absence of religious freedom, there's more chance for religious extremism, extremist violence. And so there's definitely a connection. So we try to integrate religious freedom into our foreign policy and into our national security.
But we still see the attacks happening.
We still see it. It's one of those things. I think, I was in television here when I started WJLA, and I produced a show called Headliner. We were able to put people on the front page of every story. Religious freedom is really the opposite, because people's very lives are at stake. And so we don't always see it verbally. We don't see it each day in the headlines. But behind the scenes, there are sometimes some non-measurable means of success. For example, last week I was in Liberia, which is a success story. And there 10 years ago, the Muslim and Christian women came together and said, it's time for the fighting to stop. War, because of religious issues, has to stop. And this year, President Johnson Sirleaf signed her 10-year agreement in terms of we're going to uphold religious freedom. So sometimes we see measurable success, and we can uplift that, and sometimes we can't measure it. So we have to continue with our efforts for promoting religious freedom around the world.
Susan Johnson Cook, Ambassador at Large for International Religious Freedom, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Wow. That was an amazing video. Very, very amazing video. But hard to watch. Very hard to watch. Because that's, like I said, you guys, that's me and you. I know a lot of Americans, us here in the United States of America, look at it as though this stuff would never happen in America. That's where we go wrong. I know we had a good run in the United States, and I live in the United States, but you can see it slowly but surely creeping right into the United States of America. Yes, it's so hurtful to see these things, but I know we all took something out of that video. These things happen every day. Every day. Could you even imagine getting your kids taken away from you? They getting mistreated in your face. I got 2 daughters myself. I could never see that. That would hurt me too much. Knowing that as a man, there's nothing that you can do about it. I speak for all parents. I think I do speak for all parents when I say that's the most hardest thing ever to watch. As a mom or a father, a mom or dad, a mother or a father. That's the most, just the thought of it makes you cringe, makes you want to do the worst or think the worst. But we know we got Jesus Christ on our side. We got to stay stable because we always have a stable banner in Jesus Christ. Jesus said when they persecute you, rejoice, because yours is in the kingdom of heaven, you guys. So when we going through these persecutions, because some of us, we are going to go through it. Just keep that in mind. Sometimes that's why I try to memorize Bible verses. Sometimes we got to hide the word in our hearts, because it's not going to always be that easy to just go pick up a Bible as it is today. And other countries, people will get killed for just possessing a Bible, having possession of a Bible, speaking about Jesus Christ. If you guys watched the video and really watched it, you hear what they said in Kim Jong-un in that country. I can't think of the country right now, but if you possess a Bible or worship Jesus Christ, you and 3 generations later will be punished. That's just crazy, you guys. Well, that's something to think about, you guys. You guys know I love you guys always. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And you guys always know I love you guys. That'll never change. God is the reason for the season. And God is the reason that we're leaving. Love you guys. You guys stay strong. Persecution is on the rise. It's just don't get talked about as much. But just believe that sometimes you can't hide from it. We got to know what's going on around us, you guys. And this is definitely what's going on around us. They don't persecute the Muslims. They don't persecute the atheists. They don't persecute no other religion. Why? Because it's something about this Christian. It's about the truth, Jesus Christ. Love you guys. One love.